Hey, this is Philip with G6 Technology Services. In this video I thought I'd give you a quick network tour here at the shop. So we're in the building's communications room, and I thought I'd start off right at the beginning of the network with our internet connection. So we've got Cox Fiber Internet, so that's a 200 by 200 meg fiber optic internet service, and this is where the fiber comes into the building. It's this thick black cable, and then my service comes out on this thin yellow cable that goes up on top of this shelf, and then it goes into this switch right here, which Cox provided. So we've got our yellow single mode coming in, and then we've got my teal OM3 multi-mode coming out. So Cox actually did provide an SFP module for me, so that's nice. And then we just have this little switch here. They gave me the option of either copper or fiber, so I just went with fiber. You don't really get much, or if anything, for doing that at 200 meg, and this is only, well actually I was going to say this is only a gigabit switch anyway. I don't know, it might not be. I have to look up the model number. But anyway, I'm the only customer on it. This is different than the Cox optical internet, which is a dedicated circuit. Cox Fiber Internet, it's designed for commercial office buildings and stuff like that. So there's a dedicated circuit coming into the building for this switch, and then all the customers would share that service. So I think they have a 1 gig service coming in. I'm only using 200 meg, and I'm the only customer, so effectively it is dedicated. But if there were other customers, it could possibly be oversubscribed, but they said that they don't usually do that. If it was getting full, then they'd upgrade it to a 10 gig service or put in another switch or something. And then I've got this battery backup that I've got it plugged into, just in case the power goes out. So that's really all there is to it. That fiber optic cable just goes up into the ceiling, and then that goes across into my server room, I guess you can call it. So that's it for this room. I'll go ahead and close up in here, and we'll pick up in the server room. Alright, so we're now in my server room. This is the network cabinet / server rack. You can see up in the ceiling, this is where all of our fiber optic cables come in from different places in the building. One of those is our internet connection, and the other ones are all just different locations in the building that we've got networking run to. And we'll go take a look at a lot of those. So we've just got the excess bundled up, hanging up there on the wall. So the internet actually comes in around the back. It goes right into the back of the firewall. So it's right there, that SFP with that fiber optic cable plugged in the middle of the screen. It's going right into our firewall. So I guess that's a good place to start. So that's our Sophos, I think it's, I don't see the, oh here it is, SG125 is the model number. And we've got just one of those right now. I'd like to get a second one because you can do high availability, like an active passive failover system. So if something goes wrong with the first one, then the second one is just constantly syncing with the first one. So the second one will take over if the first one goes offline, so you don't have any downtime. And I've actually seen that in practice at a customer's site where they have two of them, and we ran a ping and intentionally took the first one offline. It was after hours, nobody was using it. It only dropped one ping. That's pretty impressive. It picked right back up and everything kept going. So with the exception of the internet that comes in directly back here, all the other fiber lines to the other locations in the building all come into this patch panel, and then I've got everything labeled on a piece of paper. Because these are not actually labeled like A1, B2, anything like that. So they all come in here to the patch panel, and then some of them go right into this Cisco switch. This Cisco, is it SG200-26? That's the core switch, so the firewall is plugged directly into that, and then all the other switches link off of that. So some of these other fiber optic cables plug into these media converters, and then they go into this switch. So I ran out of SFP ports on the actual switch. And then we have this little HP, let's see what that's in, 1910-8G-PoE+. So I just have that running, some PoE accessories. We have a phone, actually, that's right here, and a camera that are being powered from that, and then it just plugs right into this Cisco switch. Then up on top of here, there's two Dell Inspiron. I forget the model number. They're discontinued. They're discontinued now, but I think they're quad-core Pentium CPU, if I remember correctly. Anyway, they're not really doing anything now. One of them used to be my PBX, the phone server. That has been moved to a VM, and the other one is technically still running. It's just a utility machine, just if I have to remote into a Windows box. It actually has some config files and things that auto backup to it, and then it's got Crash Plan on there for cloud backup. We have our patch panel, so we've got all of the fiber keystones at the end, then we have some Cat6 keystones at the beginning. I actually, and it's funny, I had to move the first 4 of them because the patch cables were too short, because this switch is only 24 ports, so it doesn't extend all the way across to the left half of the rack. So yeah, well, anyway, not ideal, but it'll do. Moving down, we have a keyboard, monitor, mouse, and then these 2 Optiplex 790s. So at some point I would like to get a I don't know what you call it, the rack sliding drawer monitor with a keyboard and a trackpad kind of thing for a KVM, and then I'd also like to get a KVM. Right now it's just this monitor and keyboard and mouse, and I just have to unplug them and move them around. So this left hand one here is my ESXi server. So that actually has, actually both of these have quad-core i5s. I forget the clock speed, but they've got, I think the left one is maxed out on RAM, has 16 gigs of RAM. The right one, I don't remember, but it's not being used anymore. The left one, like I said, is ESXi. I've got the PBX, which is a free PBX, running on there. I also have a Windows server, which is a web server, and I've got a CentOS. I think there's 2 of those. Yeah, 2. One of them is just a reverse proxy gateway type thing. So all the other web servers are reverse proxied through that. Just helps not having to have a separate public IP for each one, or having to mess with changing ports or anything. So they're all on the same public IP, all using port 80 and 443, and they just all go through that reverse proxy. And then they just get split to different virtual machines or physical machines based on their domain name. What else is on there? The second CentOS machine. Oh, actually, no, I forgot. There are 4 of them, I think. So anyway, one of them is running, or used to be running, what's it called? Atlassian Confluence. I use that for knowledge base articles and things. It stopped working. I don't know what's wrong with it. I haven't had time to look into it, so I just shut it off. The other 2, I've got 2 Unify controllers that are both running on CentOS. All of them are CentOS 7. So one of the Unify controllers is for my internal use, and the other one is for all my customers, and my home stuff is on that one also. So CentOS is being discontinued, unfortunately, so I'll just leave it running how it is for now, but I'm going to have to move over to something else at some point. I've tried doing it on Windows, and I just had the worst experience. I don't know what it is, because some people said that it was fine, but it just kept freezing up, and I had to keep rebooting the machine. I don't know why. It had plenty of resources. It didn't seem like anything was hung up, and it wasn't the Windows machine that was hung up, it was just that Java service for Unify that was just not responding. So anyway, I have had no problems with it on CentOS. It's been perfectly reliable. What else? I think those are all the main in-use VMs on there. Yeah, I can't think of anything else off the top of my head. On the right, that used to be an NVR video recorder. Now it does nothing, and that role has been given to this machine on the left, which is a Precision T3500, which is now running Windows 10 and Blue Iris, and that is recording all of the cameras that are connected to this network. And then on the right, that is doing nothing. It's some old HP, I don't even know what it is. It came on an auction lot with these, actually. The lot was half these and half these. The Dells actually are useful, these not so much. They're very old and are only dual core. They didn't come with any RAM. They're just not that great. But anyway, I was just using it as a monitor. It was hooked up to this monitor, actually, and I just had the security camera multi-view on there, but I just shut it off because nobody ever comes in here and I don't look at it, so no point. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. I don't know where oh, it's up here. Yeah, this all the way on the right. This thing right here with all the media converters, that is not a media converter. That is actually an HDMI over IP extender, and it does actually use TCP/IP, so it can be switched over a regular computer network. It doesn't have to be directly plugged in just over Cat6 on some non-standard protocol. So it is actually on a VLAN on this switch, and it's plugged into the NVR server, and I use that for getting a video feed of the multi-view in different locations. So we just have monitors set up that just receive that signal and just have the multi-view of the cameras set up. What else is notable? Just have this little battery backup down here. I can't see what the rating is. I think it was like a 750 VA or something like that, if I remember correctly. And then, oh, over here I have these PDUs that came with the rack. Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention this rack. Let me see if I can give you a full backed up view of it. There you go, you can kind of see the whole thing backed way into a corner. But this rack I actually got from a local college, from a government liquidation website, for about 20 bucks plus whatever taxes, so it was like less than $25 for this whole thing. I was overjoyed because I was just about to buy one off of Amazon for $400 and got this one for practically for free. And it came with both of these PDUs, which that's what I was showing you. These yellow cords back here are like camper adapters because these have twist lock plugs on them, and I just wanted to be able to plug them into a standard outlet. So they're just both plugged in to that same UPS, and then that's just plugged into the wall over there. So I'm running well below the rating of that UPS and well below the rating of this wall outlet, so it's not a problem to convert the plugs like that. I should know, but I don't, if they're just 15 amp twist locks or if they're like a 30 amp type thing or whatever. But anyway, this whole setup is going to be running next to nothing, because all of this is just these embedded type devices that are using hardly anything, and then this one server that sort of, I guess, is using a decent amount, but we're still well within the limits of this circuit that's in here. Anyway, that probably covers about everything to do with this rack that I can think of. Yeah, so I think what we'll do next is I'll just start making the rounds around the building and just show you some of the other network cabinets that are connected back to here. Alright, so the first one we'll look at is actually in the back of the workshop slash storefront unit. If you haven't seen that, I think I have a video of a office tour and it's in there. If not, then I will be doing another one before too long so you can see it then. But it's got the fiber connection. First of all, it's a Ubiquiti. I actually don't remember what the model is. Does it say on here anywhere? No, it's one of the older 16-port PoE switches without the fancy little display in the corner. But anyway, it's actually pretty well utilized. But we've got our fiber coming in on the right that goes back to the server room. And then all of these plugs go to just the various things around the workshop and the storefront. This rack also is from the same auction. I got it for 20 bucks. I was gonna get one of those wall hanging like 6U ones. It's like 250. So why not just do this, and I've got all the rest of the room I can put other stuff in. And then I've just got a phone sitting over here that's plugged directly in. Let me show you a couple other things that are plugged into this. So one thing that's plugged into that switch is this access point. It's a Ubiquiti UAP AC light that is feeding or serving the front half of the floor down here. Then we have this desk in the workshop. We've got this Dell Micro PC and this phone that both, yeah, I did a great job with that, just goes up into the ceiling. One of those things where I was saying I'd get around to making it look nice later, and it's been 2 years. So then we also have a few security cameras. I forget the exact model, but these are Rio Link, somewhere near 4K. I don't remember the actual resolution. They're PoE cameras with infrared night vision, so we have several of those around. And then I'm not going to show you the messy workbench right now, but we have 2 more lines coming out of the ceiling for the workbench that are connected to the guest/test workbench VLAN. Then I have this printer, which actually, this also, guess where that came from? Yep, Gov Deals, 20 bucks. Works great. Came with it's like 75% full toner cartridge. The only negative thing, actually I did a video on this if you care to go back and find it, or maybe you already saw it, but the only negative thing was that somebody snapped off the USB port on the back of it, which I don't care about that at all because I want to have it on the network. I'm not going to plug it in with USB, so that doesn't affect me at all, so perfectly functional over the network. Prints great. Next we have my office, which has another one of these little HP switches like that we had in the server room. Sorry the picture's a little bit dark. My overhead light burned out on this side of the room and I haven't changed it yet. We've got our fiber that goes up into the ceiling, and then we've just got our various things plugged in here. I've got my desktop computer, my phone, there's an access point in here, printer, another phone, some other stuff. We'll go over it in the office tour later, but that's this switch, which is just plugged into this little battery backup down here on the floor. And this PC actually is not doing anything, it's just being a table. Okay, then we have this location. We have another, it's the exact same HP switch. Guess where I got all these from? GovDeals auction for 20 bucks. Got our fiber coming in, and then all of our network lines. Alright, here's another network cabinet. We're actually up on the first floor in a utility room now. This is one of the cabinets for the building for their security. I put in cameras for them. So I'll hop up on a ladder and show you more about this one. Alright, so this is one of those cabinets that I was saying I was going to get downstairs. That's like $250 or something. I ended up with that $20 rack for that instead. So what we have in here, we've got a Ubiquiti, actually this is one of the newer ones, the fancy screen. This is a 24 port, looks like, yeah. And so we've got the same arrangement, it's patch paneled switch. We've got our cameras at the front. Then we have our fiber, you can kind of see up under there. One of those comes from the server room downstairs, and the other one actually daisy chains off to another one of these cabinets for the building for some cameras, actually in another building across the courtyard. So I'll see if I can go over there after that. And then this other cable, we're actually just passing through the network from the building office in this building to the other building. Since the same company owns both buildings, they might as well just have both buildings connected to the same network instead of having to pay for internet in 2 places and have 2 different networks. And we had fiber run over there anyway for the cameras, so I just made a VLAN so it's all isolated and separated, and they have a nice gigabit connection from one building to the other. So that's it. These are just all the PoE cameras being fed off of that. Then we have our extra coiled up fiber. I know that's not the prettiest. That was quite an ordeal getting this run. That's a story for another time. But this is all pre-terminated fiber, and because of the distances involved, it ended up being way more than we needed, but I couldn't have gone a size smaller because we would have been short. So this is just under 500 feet total, and I think the next size was like 300, and we ended up needing like 350 feet or something. So this was the best situation, I guess. Then we just have this APC battery backup in here that's backing up this switch, which just plugs in over here. It's got a dedicated circuit. And yeah, I think that's all on this one. Not too much to talk about. We've got the nice locking mechanism. And then we have these nice side panels that also lock. You release them from the inside. I would have liked them to have this outlet actually in the cabinet, but that's what we ended up with. So we just got the cord going up over there, and then we just have our cables going up into the ceiling with everything else. So this was a split job. I didn't run any of the cables for this one. We had the construction company that does maintenance for the building ran all the cables. I just installed the switch and programmed it. They hung up the rack and put the outlet in and ran all the main cables, and then I terminated everything into the patch panel and mounted the switch and configured it. So let me see if I can get to the other one just for the sake of completeness. That'll be the whole installation. If not, then this will be the last rack. Alright, well, the door's locked, but this over here, this room behind this mirrored window, that's where we just were. And across the courtyard over here, and this unit is where the other rack is. So I'm going to try and zoom in through the window, but the door is locked and I don't have a key to it. Alright, there it is up on the wall. Doesn't really focus that great because it's looking through a dirty window, but that's the same kind of rack that's in the other room, and it's the exact same switch, same patch panel, same battery backup. It's just got that fiber cable coming from the other side, and then it's hooked up to a few cameras, and there's an AC, or I don't know what the model number is. It's the Wi-Fi 6 Pro AP that's actually to the left around the corner there that you can't see. So that's all for this building. Alright, I'm just pointing the camera at this Dell all-in-one to give you something to look at while I talk. But just wanted to thank you all for watching. That's the end of our network tour. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head that we need to look at. But let me know in the comments if there was something that you think that I missed or that you'd want more information about. And in the meantime, like I said, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.